Well, I'm Stan Creech, the owner of Creech Import Repair here in Raleigh. Today we're going to talk about purchasing a used car. If you're thinking about buying a used car, I compliment you because it is a good value. If you get one a few years old, the depreciation's already occurred for the most part, so you're going to get a good value, but there is some risk involved. You want to have a thorough inspection of the car to make sure everything's okay and you're not buying somebody else's problem. In general, when we do a pre-purchase inspection, the mechanic will pull the car in the shop, do a 5-minute quick assessment to make sure the car is worthy of doing the pre-purchase inspection and that it's safe to drive. If it passes the 5-minute assessment, then we'll get it on the highway, do a road test. And then we bring it back in the shop and we literally check everything at that point, under the hood, inside the car, the computer, under the car, you name it. Today we're going to go through the motions of doing a pre-purchase inspection on a 2002 Isuzu Trooper. You know, it's not a new car. It's 15 years old, but it's not really old, so it's a good test subject to go through the inspection on. So now that we got the car in the shop, we're going to do a quick 5-minute assessment just to make sure this vehicle is worthy of a pre-purchase inspection. So we're just looking for any red flags. Check the tire pressure, check the oil level, look at the drive belts, inspect the tires to make sure they're safe, and you take a quick look at the brakes before we drive the car. We want to make sure it's safe to drive. The next step is to get the car out on the highway. We've got a checklist of things we're going to go here to look at.
Whoa, jeez.
Hey, we just could have got that on camera.
Government work. That's government work right there.
He's going to Dunkin' Donuts. So we're going to go ahead and get up to speed. And I'm feeling for any vibration in the steering wheel. We're up to 60. I'm going to apply the brake. Brakes feel good and smooth. No tire vibration. So far, so good. Transmission shifts good. Well, one thing you look for on a road test, when you're accelerating, is an experienced mechanic can pick out if you have an engine mount that's broke. You know, some cars are bad for that. Honda's one. You know, when it shifts gears or when you accelerate, the engine torque will rock, and you can feel it clunk when you're accelerating and shifting gears. I remember this one time, years ago, we had this Mitsubishi Eclipse that the used car salesman came in with the customer, and we were looking at the car. We had it on the lift, and it looked like it'd been in a wreck on Daytona Speedway underneath the car. I mean, it looked like just everything under the car was damaged. And we wanted to get the customer back there to show it to him, and the salesman freaking out like, "No, you can't look under the car. You don't need to see that." I mean, seriously. Is that crooked or what?
So what happened?
He got mad. The salesman got mad. The customer obviously didn't buy the car, but that's just was pitiful. Yeah, and I will say this. If you're looking to buy a used car and you want to take it to your mechanic, if the car lot is not willing to let you take the car and have an independent inspection, that's a red flag. All right, so we just finished the road test, and so far everything's good. Now we're going to pull it in the shop and do the thorough inspection. Okay, so now we're back in the shop. We've done the initial 5-minute assessment. We've done the road test. Now we're going to get into checking all the items. I'm going to just show you a few things we check. We're not going to go item by item, but we're going to start with the electrical system, the battery, the alternator, and the starter. So this checks the battery capacitance, gives it a good bad grade. We're going to check the alternator output and also the starter, and we'll give the customer a printout. So now we're going to do some inspecting under the hood. We're going to look for things like drive belt condition, air filter, all the fluid levels, any leaks that we might see. There's a list of things we're going to inspect. One thing about maintenance, you know, as a mechanic, when we're looking over a car doing a pre-purchase inspection, we can kind of get an idea of how well it's been maintained by the current condition. You know, things like is the oil change sticker up to date, the filter condition, the fluid conditions. You know, we can kind of give it a grade as to how well it's been maintained just by looking at it. If you see a lot of buildup inside the oil filler cap or inside the valve cover, or even staining on the oil on the dipstick, then that's a sign that the vehicle may have been neglected as far as the oil changes may not have been done on a regular interval. There's a little, of course this car has got high mileage, but it has a little bit of build up here in the cap, but not too bad. All right, one of the things we look for on a pre-purchase inspection is body panels to see if any panels have been repainted, like if the car has been in an accident, Carfax won't show a body repair if it was not filed as an insurance claim. If it was fixed out of pocket, you'll never see that. So one of the tricks I like to do, and you won't see this outside in the parking lot. You have to be in the building with the car elevated and with the fluorescent lights. Because you walk at an angle to where you can see the reflection of the fluorescent lights in the paint, and what you're looking for is the texture. A really good body shop can match the color, but matching the texture is almost impossible. Now, it can be done. So you're looking for the orange peel effect or the texture of the paint as you see it, the reflection of the light. So you just go around each panel, and what you're looking for is it to be the same. If this panel had been repainted, the texture is going to look different. You'll see it. So with the vehicle all the way up on the lift, we're going to inspect and measure the brakes, record the thickness of the brakes in millimeters, the condition of the brakes. We're going to look at the fluids underneath, any signs of any leaking, check the suspension components, anything on our checklist we're going to look at right now while it's on the lift. So here's one good reason you're going to want to have your car inspected by a professional. You know, these are Michelin tires. They've got good tread, but if you look right here on the sidewall, you see some cracking from what's dry rot. That's why we call it dry rot, and it can happen on any car. This is bad enough I would recommend replacing these tires, even though there's good tread left. The last step is to check some items on the inside of the car. We're going to check these window switches, door lock functions, radio, all the interior stuff. But the most important thing is to check the computer's readiness monitors. The readiness monitors can tell you if there's a pending issue with a check engine light or something in the emissions or fuel system. So we've got 8 monitors okay, none incomplete. So this tells me that the engine is in good shape. Nobody's trying to hide any check engine light issues. You know, I'm gonna talk out of context here for a second. You hate to think that somebody would be dishonest, but if there's a check engine light problem with this car, somebody could disconnect the battery and the light would go out for a period of time before the light came back on. Well, I could tell that with the readiness monitor status. If somebody's trying to hide something or something fishy is going on, we can tell by the computer status. On some cars, like Honda and Toyota, we can actually go one step further with the factory scan tool and do what's called a health check. It scans all the computer modules for HVAC, transmission. This is just the engine. All right, so that completes this pre-purchase inspection. We got a little bit of paperwork to do, but other than that, the car checked out pretty well. We did find it needs a set of tires from dry rot. It's got a little bit of rust on the exhaust, but other than that, I think it's a keeper. I highly recommend getting the car inspected before you purchase it. We'll be glad to do it for you here at Creech Import Repair.